So thank you, good morning, and happy to see you all and have this opportunity. I mean, just to introduce myself, I'm a member of the European Parliament elected for Czech Pirate Party and currently serving in the Economic and Monetary Affairs Committee. So if you have expected any sort of like technical debate, I would rather go way more political, because I think despite the fact that I've started like in the technical field, now I'm involved in the policies, and I would like to a little bit more talk about the policies, because or the way how they are created. The current situation, I mean, like I guess most of the people you observe that is that actually both, let's say, cryptocurrencies, blockchain, smart contracts, so are technologies that are appearing. And we came to the point that, let's say, the traditional politicians, the traditional politics realized there is something new here, and we shall somehow approach it. And of course, there are like various debates about how to regulate those technologies, or how to, I mean, like tailor it for the world that the people were used before. I mean, like, I'm talking about regulations, but that's sort of like natural. I mean, like, politicians are used to provide things like consumer protection or security of services and so on. So they do expect to actually apply those concepts that they have learned in the other fields to be applied here as well. I mean, for example, I mean, like we have very nice legislations regarding to fight terrorism, fight money laundering, and so on, which is, I would say, natural and kind of like understandable idea that we have such a legislation. I mean, like nobody likes terrorists, of course. But the problem is when we try to apply it here in this new field. I mean, like we are supposed, or like every single bank is supposed to know its customer. I mean, like, when you are coming to the bank, you are supposed to show your ID and tell who am I when kind of like putting the money on the account. The problem of the traditional politicians is that when they are kind of like talking about those concepts, they imagine things like, for example, Bitcoin wallet to be sort of like an account in a bank. Okay, if they understand it that way, then naturally for them, the natural expectation is, well, you shall follow the same rules. I mean, like everybody tells you the market shall have the same conditions for every single participant. I mean, like the conditions shall be equal. So if they say conditions shall be equal, and we understand the Bitcoin wallet as a sort of like an account in a bank, then naturally they demand that there is the same level of checking of the customers as it is in the traditional bank. That means they try to identify every single person having a wallet with Bitcoins. Well, I mean, like, technically speaking, this is not possible. We do know how the blockchain works, how cryptocurrencies works, and this is technically not possible, and it's completely like killing the whole purpose of cryptocurrencies as they are. I mean, like, they are supposed to provide like independent way of independent payment system, and I mean, like, you can't really do it if you expect that there will be some banking authority kind of like checking everybody who is creating just the wallet in own computer. So this is a bit an issue, but still we are fighting a lot of big, like, let's say, barrier of misunderstanding with the traditional politicians, because I mean they do expect that they will apply the rules, and they would like to do so also in this field. I mean, over the last 4 years of this current mandate of the European Parliament, we have had a couple of reports talking about the cryptocurrencies, crypto assets in general. 2 months ago, there was a vote on so-called MiCA regulation that defines the market. The problem is that following this logic, the regulation was adopted without really like understanding the specific needs of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. And yet already some people in the European Commission are talking whether there should be something like MiCA 2, because I mean, like, currently the cryptocurrencies are in a way covered. The problem is that there could be some sort of like a covering for the smart contracts as well. Well, this is very much double-edged. I mean, on one hand, we can be afraid that the smart contracts would be same case as we have seen for cryptocurrencies, same like blind applying of the old principles. On the other hand, we should think about like possible advantages of this approach. I mean, we are talking currently, when we are talking about smart contracts market, we are talking about some 180 millions of US dollars just for 2022. It is expected that the market shall grow until 2030 to some 1 billion or 1.2 billion of US dollars. I mean, may sound a lot, but in practice, if you think about it, just the budget that is being every year used by City Council of Prague, like of this city, is twice bigger. I mean, like this city, this one city has twice bigger budget compared to the whole market of decentralized finances or smart contracts in 2030. Well, then we are not really like progressing that fast as we would like to. Again, the problem is that decentralized finances are sort of like isolated legally from the, let's say, traditional finances, from the traditional big banks, whose like market is way bigger compared to what we see here. And again, we see the same type of issues. I mean, like they could possibly consider like investing into startups, investing into the new companies. The only problem is they always face the legal regulations. I mean, like you are supposed not to invest in anything which could be used by whatsoever terrorists, money laundering, and so on. Well, then you are kind of like restricted from investing into the new innovative sectors. So this is a problem, and we need to find a way, find a workaround how to give it the opportunity for, let's say, the traditional financial industry to actually invest into the decentralized finances. And that will be tricky. I mean, as we have seen in case, for example, the cryptocurrencies, the problem with understanding of what the wallet is here. There, when we are talking about the decentralized finances, we are talking about smart contracts. And if you look on the lawyers, they will ask you, so the smart contract is something like a contract. So it should follow the traditional like legal expectations I have for contracts. So for example, when a court says, I want to cancel this contract, we decide that because of the law, then the contract shall be cancelled. Yeah, isn't that natural? I mean, like that's what we are used to from the traditional law. Okay, the problem is that actually you can't do that because I mean, like the smart contract is cryptographically secured. So I mean, like this particular like demand doesn't make sense in that context. So what we need to do is actually to find a way how to include the smart contracts as, let's say, contracts, but same time respecting their specific technical features they have, so that they are accepted by the traditional, let's say, legal and financial industry. Honestly, I think this is going to be an issue. This is going to be very much a political issue, because as I must say, I'm fine with Pirate Party, Czech Pirate Party, European Pirate Party, German Pirate Party. I mean, like we are more on the same page. When I see the traditional parties that are being like active in the field, there is no understanding for this concept. So from that point of view, I see, or I really feel the need to talk to you and to ask you, please help us politically. Because what we need you to do is actually to help us to build a bridge from, let's say, the traditional politics to this new field, so that the traditional politics can adapt to it. We are no longer considered to be some crazy geeks who are like doing something weird, but really are being involved and could be could become part of the system in a way. I mean, like what I would like to see at the end of this game would be my pension fund that is investing in smart contracts market. And so far, it's not really like possible. So that's what I would like to achieve, and I would like to ask you to actually help us to lobby this, to spread the word, and to participate wherever you can. So far from me, I've talked a lot. I guess I should give some space for the questions. If someone would be interested, I'm really happy to answer.
Yeah, how about now? Okay, so okay? So thank you for this. My name is Viera. I'm part of the European Crypto Initiative. So basically, we work on topics that you described, and what we have been working on for the past many months is the Data Act that actually has a definition, like the first definition of smart contracts. And as far as we've been following the current trialogue, it's not going great for the industry and for your future pension fund. So can you elaborate? Are you in any way involved in that work? And what are your kind of position, if you can share any, regarding the Data Act and the way that it's going? Because there are also kind of attempts to, especially in the Parliament version, to basically equate smart contracts to legal contracts. Those that are a bit worrisome. So yeah, if you can elaborate on that act, it would be interesting as well.
Well, yes, Data Act is one of the pieces of the legislation that are currently going through my committee, actually more in through the other one, like the industrial one, because there is more focus on that. I mean, there is precisely this political debate, as you have described, around it. Most or like the mostly involved among us, I think, is Marcel Kolaja, my pirate colleague in the European Parliament, who was in his committee, if I'm not mistaken, a shadow reporter. Precisely the problem is that the Data Act kind of like expects you to easily like change the content of the data to be able to kind of like delete them. This is not that easy for blockchain and whatsoever technology, which is kind of like based on decentralization and cryptography. So I mean, like we have this problem here. The problem, if I'm not mistaken, what is actually now the current wording. There is a negotiation between the European Parliament and the Council. Effectively, always it works that way. That like for those who have not that much followed, European Union works effectively that way. That you have European Commission, which is something like the government, and then there is European Parliament, which is something like a parliament, and then there is Council, which is effectively like a grouping of the member states. And whatever law you want to pass, it has to be proposed by the Commission, like the government, and then it has to be passed by both chambers, which mean the Parliament and the Council. And it has to be passed in the same form, which means there is always a process ongoing, which is called trialogue, and that is effectively trying to kind of like match the Parliament position and the Council position, so they have the same one, and they can vote on the same one and pass the same proposal. So currently we are in the process of trialogue, where there is parliamentary position and a council position. If I'm not mistaken, the parliamentary position is a bit better, and the member states are currently like not really great in this particular field. Correct me if I'm mistaken. Yeah, and.
The way that we see it, the Parliament position is actually not that great. Especially there is a new proposal for a definition that will basically encompass everything imaginable under the scope of a smart contract. We thought that will follow is that basically now there are going to be strict requirements for how a smart contract should be developed. And when the scope is so broad, it just brings a lot of uncertainty. So what we are trying to achieve is to make it only for permissioned blockchain and smart contracts that are basically not gonna affect the permissionless. And but we can discuss that later if you want. But from our understanding, actually, the Parliament isn't going in a great direction.
Okay. Well then, please let me know the precise details, and I mean, like, I will try to speak to the colleagues who are responsible, because I mean, like, this is a bit shame. I mean, like, usually it works that way, that the parliament is kind of like more reasonable than the council, but in this particular field, apparently it's not the case.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Hi, I'm Chris. So you mentioned smart contracts as an end game in regard of regulation. Are there some low-hanging fruits, like thinking about stable coins or something to get the way straight, so we can later on regulate smart contracts? Do you can come up with something that are some easy steps we can make before?
I think generally the biggest, let's say, influence on the political process is actually the way how it is talked about. Yeah, if you say cryptocurrency is currency, people are way more
It's
likely
Bitcoin,
to
right?
understand it as a cash. When you say smart contract is a contract, people tend to understand it as a contract. So the question is whether it wouldn't be actually, in a way, smarter to talk about it in, let's say, by using, let's say, a different word that would actually refer to the same thing, but would not create problematic association. But to be honest, I'm not in the stage to tell you I have this or that word in my mind that would actually rephrase or reorganize the whole discussion. When we are talking about stablecoins, in fact, I think there is a general problem that people who hear about it, they expect it to be something like very safe and stable, naturally, and that naturally or brings them to the idea that there should be like let's say, high level of consumer protection provided. And as they try to apply this consumer protection on stable coins, sooner or later they realize, okay, it works a bit differently, and then they moved towards like a way of thinking like, let's ban it at all. And this is not really what you want. Yeah, so I would say it's very much a question of how you name the things and how you talk about them, not only about the technical implementation.
All right, thank you.
Hi, is this on? Hi, I'm Jake. I'm legal counsel at BrainBot, a Web3 venture builder, and I've also thought about this problem with the smart contracts naming, and I just wanted to point out that Vitalik actually in 2018 also expressed his regret having called these systems smart contracts, and he suggested that they maybe should be called persistent scripts, and I think that is a good way to look at it. And I want to encourage DeFi builders maybe to think about if their arrangements should actually not look like contracts. So do it in a way that not two parties are interacting with each other through the smart contract, but rather do it in a different way. So if you look at decentralized exchanges, for example, you have order books, and you have AMMs, so I think we should favor the AMM side from that point of view. I just wanted to know your thoughts about this.
If I may ask you, maybe I mean, like, just to send me the reference to this proposal, I would be interested to read it.
Hello. All right. So, thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Round of applause.